When I look at the ways in which Black people are depicted generally in Western media, I don't recognize the people. They're stereotypes, they're flat images, they're not people that we can really identify in that personal, human-connected kind of way. My name is Nina Buxenbaum. Currently, I'm an associate professor at York College. I teach drawing and painting. I really just see myself as pieces that make a whole, and then, I paint that. The Topsy-Turvy doll is an image that I started using back in 2001. I started exploring that idea of this double-sided figure where you have one figure on one side veiled by this long billowy dress, and then when you turn that over, there's a completely different figure underneath. When I was thinking about the images that are really personal to me, that was the image that came to mind. My mother is from New Orleans, Louisiana. She is a mixture of African, French, Scottish, and Native American. My father is German, Jewish American. My parents divorced when I was 6, and so I was raised primarily by my mother. I grew up in Brooklyn, New York. I am the youngest of 3 siblings. On the one hand, that was helpful to have other biracial family members because I didn't know a lot of people who had the same mixture that I had. Both of my parents were very politically active, very socially progressive, and so we had lots of conversations about what my racial identity was and then how the world was going to see me, which would not always be the same. I identified the way that my mother identified, and I look like my mother. She identifies as a Black woman. I was going to identify as a Black woman. Well, I'm a figurative representational painter, and for me, it's always been really important to place the Black figure within that Western traditional style. I missed seeing Black women and brown people depicted in these images in ways that were not necessarily as the servants. You didn't see them ever as central figures within a painting, and you certainly didn't see them as icons of beauty. When I make images of people of color from a personal space, it becomes political because it's an image of a Black body. As much as we want to see the world as black and white, it just isn't, right? It's shades of gray, there is ambiguity, there is nuance to us as individuals and to us as members of society. I think when I use myself in my imagery, it's often a way to speak very directly to how I am experiencing my own racial identity or my own identity as a woman. I have 2 children. My daughter is 8 and my son is 6. I've done several paintings of my daughter because, one, she loves to ham it up, right? She just, paint me, mommy, paint me, mommy. But she has this, amazing, beautiful hair. And I think she's sort of emblematic of this mixture, like how we are becoming increasingly biracial. So I'm starting to talk to my children about the history because I want them to understand that there is no one specific way to look. It's about a shared history. It's about a shared culture. And I want them to be proud of that. Teaching on the college level allows me to continue to be inspired by the community I work in, because I find my students are incredibly thoughtful, inspiring people. The artist needs to be able to explain, needs to be able to have that conversation, because it's always hard work. And so that's what I try to encourage in my classroom, is this engagement with the image, questioning of the image. Don't just look at what is the surface, but really try to find the deeper meaning for yourself. I actually think there's more space for my work outside of New York. Currently, I live in Bethel, Connecticut. Out here, I think that people kind of appreciate the figurative nature of my work, but also the social political commentary. The way that I work, I start, with an underpainting, and then I work in layers on top. When you add texture, it has a different experience than a drawing. It's about capturing the essence of something. And I think that that's something that paint can do in a way that's really beautiful and inspiring and engaging. The idea of the double-sided person, as I've gotten older, it's really about coming to terms with, this is how I look, this is how people view me, but then there's how I identify myself on the inside. And so those things are often in conflict. Through conflict, we come to catharsis, we come to understanding. That a lot of times I'll have the figures kind of exploring each other's hair as a way of creating a sense of intimacy. Because I think it's important for people to have to think about these things and not just have an initial reaction or be told what they should feel from a painting, but have to sit and kind of contemplate and think about it. Are they struggling or are they hugging? Is she pulling her hair or is she playing with her hair? Like, what is happening in this image? And I think in that way, the figures start to address each other as human beings. My mom keeps asking me, well, how long are you going to be doing these topsy-turvies? I think that because it offers so many different stories that it can tell just with this idea of the double figure, especially in this time right now, it's really relevant because we are so divided. You have to find the thing that you really enjoy saying, and you keep telling it until you're done. I think that's the power of painting and visual imagery. It just creates a space where we can see ourselves reflected in these images, because everything is beautiful in paint.